I think my biggest strength would probably be my knife skills. I like to pay particular attention to detail when I'm cutting things. I like to be real precise about it, and I think out in the industry they like to see people who are using things like their knife skills and things like that, and being particular about that kind of stuff. I worked at Skyline for years, and I was a shift manager there, and I was always the lead on the steam table. I was always the one that was pretty much running the steam table. People would always come over to me and ask me, if I could help them out with stuff. If they were busy doing other things, I was usually the one that they would come over to and ask if I could help them. And I mean, just in other aspects of my life, I've had people say that I helped them come out in different areas of their life with things that they were afraid to come out with. I mean, I can remember a girl that I worked with at Skyline who was younger, and she had realized that she was a lesbian, but she hadn't came out yet, and she didn't know exactly what to do with that information. And then, from what I understand, she told me a few years later that if it hadn't been working for me, she would have never found the courage to come out herself. So, yeah, so that's why I kind of see me in a leadership role, because I kind of gave her the strength and the knowledge to be able to feel comfortable with her own self and be able to come out. Oh, well, you definitely got to communicate with your staff. I mean, the line has to be communicating with each other. The front of the house has to be communicating with the back of the house. I mean, if there's a block in communication, then everything's not going to run as smoothly as it should. So, if you're in the back of the house, I mean, you've constantly got to be communicating with each other. Like, I mean, if you've got people who are working the line and you're trying to get down the line from one end to another, I mean, you've got to be telling them that you're coming down the line so they don't turn around with a hot pan and splash you with something. I mean, if you're not letting them know those kind of things, you're definitely, someone's going to get burned, someone's going to get hurt. Communication is definitely a good thing. I mean, I haven't really been too nervous, like when I've been in the kitchen, aside from, of course, when you have a teacher standing over your shoulder, then you get a little nervous. But I mean, as a whole, I think I've taken it all pretty much in stride. I haven't been too worried about, falling on my face. I've messed up a few recipes. I can remember when we were in Baking and Pastry, the ovens that we have, they're French ovens. So I was supposed to set the oven at a certain degree, and I wasn't thinking logically, and I set it, and I set it for Fahrenheit, and their ovens are on Celsius. So I not that I remember the exact temperature, but we'll say I was supposed to set it for like 350, and it ended up being like 800 or so. So yeah, I messed that one up pretty good. A few cheesecakes were harmed in the process of that, but Well, I'm a people person. I would want to be, I love to cook, but I don't want to be trapped in the back of the house. I want to be able to be talking to people. So my ideal job at this point in time for me is to be like a private chef, working for a family, or my hopes are to work for a band or something along those lines, particularly like the Indigo Girls. I love them, and I would love to be a private chef for them and travel around with them. It's more of a one-on-one thing, as opposed to when you're in a restaurant, you're in the back of the house and you don't really get to talk to the people who are eating your food. I love to see, watch people when they eat my food. I like that look on their face when they take that first bite and they get that nice smile, and you've done something good, It's gonna hurt your pride a little bit when somebody sends your food back, of course. I'm always trying to try some new recipe or make something up. I tend to make things up a lot as I go along, and I've tried recipes that I've made up, and my friends will taste them, and they'll say they're good, but I think I'm my own worst critic, and I'm always like, oh, well, I could have done this, this, and this, and they're like, no, shut up, it's good, and I'm like, no, it needed a little bit more of this, and they're like, oh, whatever. I want to say for sure, the teachers here are wonderful. I love my teachers, Chef Walsh, Chef Bielefield, they're wonderful. I've learned a lot from them, and I greatly appreciate what I have learned from them. Miss Coop, she was a really great teacher also. Miss Schrock, they were really great teachers. I think I've definitely matured from everything that I've learned here. Like, I can remember how when I was just in the kitchen cooking before I'd started school, and I was real kind of just like, all over the kitchen. But now that I've gone through my classes and I've learned how I'm supposed to do things, I'm very meticulous, and I have things set up first, and it's a lot different once you go through learning how to do it the right way. You just do it a whole different way, and I think that's going to help me a lot. I've always been interested in cooking, and I mean, ever since I graduated high school, I've always played with the idea of going to culinary school, but I just don't think I was ready. You know, like right after graduating high school, I wasn't ready. I took some time off, and I would send off for information on culinary schools all the time. That was always there, it was always there. And I knew that cooking had to be my route. It was the one thing that I was good at. So I was like, I just know in the end, that's probably the route I'm gonna end up taking. And I think like 2 years ago, I was just sitting there and I just realized I was tired of not doing anything. I was just working in these dead-end jobs and I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, well, you're going on 30, so you might want to do something. So I'm like, I guess now's as good a time as any. So I put in an application here, and I was surprised. I didn't think I would get in, honestly. I was like, well, and my girlfriend, she kept encouraging me. She's like, no, do it, you can do it. And lo and behold, they accepted me, and here I am. I took art all through school. I was definitely into all of the other arts. I took photography, I took art appreciation, I did all that. I really enjoyed Miss Coop's class on history of Western art. That was really fun. I don't know, I'm just drawn to the food. I mean, honestly, I was in band, you know. I've done pretty much all the arts that I can do, but it's just the food. It speaks to me. I'd say it's a lifestyle because I'm very passionate about my food, very much so. And like I said, the food speaks to me. So it'd be more of a lifestyle than a business by far. To me, business means it's kind of cold. Does that make sense? Like, it's just, I'm doing it because I'm paid to do it. But that's not why I cook. I'm doing it because I love to cook. I love to make people smile, and I love to have them making the yummy sounds. That's the best part of it, definitely. What? The yummy sounds.
That's a wrap.